I'll be reviewing a plugin called Dehancer and a tutorial on how I use it in my color grading workflow. I use it in most of my videos and I get great results, and it doesn't take long to even do it. So I'm going to show you one of the ways that I like to color grade, and the process is pretty simple. Definitely think this is something you should add to your workflow. Today I'm using DaVinci, and you'll want to go to your color tab and open effects and search up Dehancer. Drag it onto your node here. It's gonna look weird at first, but there's some things that we have to tweak within Dehancer to make it look good. The first part, we have to transform our clip. We'll use this input tab to select the camera that we use. So this was shot on a Sony FX3, and this was from a spec commercial that we filmed. And I typically record everything in S-Log3, S-Gamut3 Cine. So we've got that color space converted. And then next, we'll want to select the film profile. And so Dehancer has a ton that you can choose from. So what I typically use are the Kodak Vision 3, 50D when it's daylight out, and then 500T when it's indoor for tungsten. So I'll usually switch back and forth depending on the look that I want. In this case, since it was bright out, we'll be choosing 50D. And then let me collapse this. I like to turn off grain. For some reason it's always enabled. So the next part is the print. And so this kind of adjusts the tone curves and the way it looks. The one I use is typically Kodak 2383. And then you can play around to see which look that you like. If you choose linear, it gives you a bit cleaner, non-filmic look, I guess less contrasted. So maybe if you want like a more commercial look, you would choose linear and adjust it from there. It's really up to how you want it to look. I like to use 2383 Kodak and then adjust the contrast from there. So after you got the film profile set up and the print set up, you can see it's a little desaturated. So in this case, I'm just gonna use one node. You could definitely, have some previous nodes before this to balance it and adjust the exposure, but for the sake of this tutorial, we'll just do it in one node. So to add some color back, we'll open the Film Developer tab and enable it. And then there's a color boost. Let's bump that up to maybe 80-ish. That's fine right there. And then there's cases where you may need to decrease the contrast. But in this case, I think it's fine. We just need to bring down the exposure. That feels kind of good there. Got some more color. This is before, after. And then with film, what I really like about it is the highlights. It's very soft and doesn't look blown out. So Dehancer actually has a section to fix that. So you can enable it here. So you can see when I enabled it, the sky, the highlights there kind of went down, and you can play around with it here. And then this expand tab really allows you to adjust the black points and the white points. So if you want the whites to be white, just bring this up to make it a bit brighter. And then if you want the blacks darker, I typically like the blacks or the darks to be dark. Some people are scared to add, contrast to that, but I think it helps make the footage pop. So now we have the print tab. You can make adjustments on here. I usually like to take the target white and pull it to the left for a warmer look. And then you can also adjust the exposure for the print. And it behaves differently than the exposure up here. I'm not sure why, but I kind of like to adjust it from here. And then you can bump up the contrast if you want. That's a bit much. it's always good to increase it and then pull it back a bit to see where you like it. And then you got the color density, so this makes the colors a bit darker. If you look at the track, the red right there. And then his face is a bit orange, it's like a little bit oversaturated, so we could pull that back. And you can play around with the temperatures as well. If it's a bit too warm, you could cool it down. You could warm it up even more, but kind of messes with the skin tones. Obviously, you could fix the skin tones with the mask, but for the sake of this tutorial, I mean, that's not too bad for a few minutes of color grading. You'll definitely want to spend more time on it if it's a project that you want to put out. Color head. So this is pretty much like your color wheels where you can adjust the tones in the mid, shadows and highlights. I typically don't do too much here besides pulling the shadows to the right to make it a bit warmer. If you pull it to the left, you can see his shirt's turning blue. That's definitely not what you want. This is for the highlights. Yeah, kind of play around with it, see what you like. I'm liking the way this looks without adjusting it. For this video, probably don't want to add grain. You can add bloom, give it a softer look. I kind of like it with the bloom for this one. It kind of looks dreamy. Overall, it's looking pretty good, but you could play around with these slides more if you'd like. If you want a bit more pushed type of look. Pull this to the left. Shirt's a bit red. There we go. For the film tab, you can push and pull for the output. See if I slide it to the right. It's a bit more contrasted. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I wouldn't be mad at that, to be honest. So let me go right click and grab a still, and then I'll show you how you can apply this to your other footage to kind of speed up the process. DaVinci allows you to save the stills, pretty much saves the settings for the color, and then you can apply it to your other videos. So this was actually a music video that I was able to color grade. Shout out to the homie Ralph for bringing me on. So we'll use the still from the previous clip and then drag it on to this one. And then you can see it's very dark. So this was shot on a different camera. So we'll just adjust that. And then let's bring up the exposure. And then you can play around with the looks. You can see 250D made it a bit more contrast and darker. This will brighten it up. And then for this, I mean, it's looking pretty good already. You can change the temperature. So for music videos, you can really get creative and really push the colors however you want, but you definitely want to keep in mind of the skin tones. So I like that blue look. It's like typical for music videos and commercials. It's that blue hue. It's looking not bad. But it's a bit contrasty, so like I said in the previous clip, you may have to drop down the contrast You can see how much this film compression helped on the lighting on the floor. So you turn it off, it's a bit bright, and then boom. It's feeling all right. Definitely want to keep in mind of your scopes. Don't want it going over 90. I like to keep it around 80s for the brightest parts. $80 or even lower, depends on the clip. Color head, you could play with it. This adds more reds. Yeah, let's play with it a bit. So you can make it look green, like kind of like a teal look, if that's what you're going for. Or blue. Like I said, I kind of like that blue look, but also keeping in mind of the skin tones and the shadows. Play around with these till it kind of, so you get the look you want, really. That's not looking bad. And then for music videos, it's nice to have some grain, kind of adds to the look to make it look like film. It's a good amount. And then you can add some halation. Keep the bloom on or turn it off. I'll just turn it off. Been using them, but you can play around with it. You can do a vignette, which is cool. You don't have to create a mask. Dehancer kind of does that for you. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. That's looking pretty good right there. I'll just save that as a still. And we'll look at the next clip. Here's another music video that's outdoors. I'll just throw this on. And right off the bat, that's looking pretty good. And we're actually using, this was shot on the FX3, and we converted it, the inputs to ARRI, but it's looking good, to be honest. It's weird how that works, but let's see what it looks like when I change it to the FX3. Yeah, the skin tone's a little off. I might just keep it with the ARRI. I mean, if it works, it works. I think, let's see what we could do here. Depending on the look that we want to go for. Cool it down a bit. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I think I'm gonna leave it right there. So that was literally one click and it's done. And let's look at a concert that I shot. So this was an indoor venue. So let's take a look at how I would color grade a concert. We can pretty much grab that same node on, and then this time we'll change the camera. This was actually shot on a A7S III. Escamot City. You can see it kind of looks funny. But remember, we have to change the film type, 500T. And what we'll do now, there's times where I'll either use the temperature sliders here, but in situations like this, it's hard to get it accurate. So DaVinci, you can just use this dropper and click on something neutral, and then it'll fix it up for you. And I would say that's pretty accurate. And then from there, we'll just kind of finesse these sliders to get the look that we want. It's a bit saturated, so I'm just gonna pull this back to where I like it. See the spotlight here, the film compression really does a lot. that. Yeah, just really tweaking it until you get the look that you want. And then this one has a grain, you can take off the grain. For music stuff, I like the grain. I think it really fits the vibe. And then bloom, kind of give it that dreamy look. I'll keep it on for now, just turn it down on a low amount. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. It's not looking bad, especially for how quick you can do this, especially when you're doing event recaps and you need to turn it over in the next day or next few days. You don't want to spend all day color grading. Dehancer is definitely one way to do it. So let's move on to the last clip, which is an outdoor scene I shot in Hawaii. We'll grab that look on. We'll turn off this white balance node and yeah, let's adjust it from there. FX3, let's change that to start with. It's a little desaturated. Well, actually, let's start with the film profile. Since this was daylight, do 50D so you can see the colors are coming back. And then maybe add some more color to it. Then we'll keep the contrast 0 here, but then we'll turn it up on the film print. Turn that back down. And kind of want this to have that warm summer vibe. Oh, it's looking pretty good. The only thing I don't like is the teal in the sky, so I'm gonna add some more blue. Warm it up a bit. It's not bad. Yeah, I'm liking that right there. So for maybe like a 2-minute color grade, this look isn't too bad. Obviously, you could tweak it a bit more and really get detailed with it. But Dehancer really does it. Makes it quick and easy for projects like this, and you definitely get a nice film look. I highly recommend you guys check it out. So if you're new to color grading or you have some experience, Dehancer is a good tool to have in your workflow. And if you want to give it a try, use my code DanKenFilms for 10% off your purchase. So if you want to see more of this type of content or you have any questions about Dehancer, comment down below and I'll be sure to get back to you. Peace.